Tennessee and Nico, I'm not even going to take a shot at his last name. They have decided to part ways, and the eyes of college football are on Knoxville. I mean, look, today is the spring game at Tennessee at 2 o'clock, and the guy who led them to the college football playoff is no longer playing for them as of, well, like probably yesterday. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me. It is a beautiful April morning, and man, we're already a week past Clemson's spring game, and I'm ready for the college football season to kick off, but I'm going to have to wait a long time. But this is really interesting. Anyway, if you like talking college football, whether it's Clemson's college football as a whole, I hope you will subscribe. It is free, so if, it's not like I'm taking money out of your pocket. So let's dive in. The University of Tennessee recruited in a guy named Nico. Not even going to take a shot at his last name, and probably right now, as mad as Tennessee fans are at the guy, they wish that they hadn't taken the time to learn how to pronounce his last name. So the guy was a big recruit coming out of the state of California, and I actually like the guy. I gave the guy a lot of compliments. I watched him play this past season, and of course he got him to the college football playoff. And of course, Ohio State absolutely emasculated Tennessee to a place. I was actually kind of shocked that it was that bad. It was terrible. But Nico got them to the college football playoff. He had success at Tennessee. He did. But there was a lot of room for growth for the young man. And the guy does have talent. He's big. He's 6'6". He can throw the football, but again, there was things that he needed to work on. I believe, now don't hold me to these numbers, he already had a $3 million deal in place with Tennessee's collective. And it could be as a total package of $8 million. I read that somewhere. Don't hold me to that. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And so from everything that I've read, and I'm going to stop saying that, but just I've read between ESPN, I've went online and looked up some of the sources of his NIL deal. The guy wanted $4 million or something like that, and they knew this back in, if I'm understanding correctly, back in December when the college football playoff was going on. They knew this. So, as I said earlier, today's the spring game. Yesterday, he didn't go to practice. He pulled the whole NFL stunt that I'm not going to practice until you meet my demands. And from various sources that I've read, I said it again, I'm sorry, and people I've talked to, Josh Heupel said, adios. You're not going to hold my neck over the barrel. You are one player, and you are important. You're the quarterback. But he asked a very important question. And I'm talking about Heupel, what will this do to my locker room? And that is a really, really good question. So Josh Heupel chose his team and his coaching staff and his program that he's got them to this point. This is the best Tennessee football has done in many, many years, consistently. And it's because of Josh Heupel. And he looked at Nico and went, I'm sorry, man. Just hit the transfer portal. I'm not doing this. Are you valuable to us? Yes. Are you worth destroying what I've built? And you're already being paid? No. Now, there's a lot of moving pieces to this puzzle. But I said this yesterday in a text message to my brother-in-law. He went to the University of Tennessee, graduated there. He may even be watching right now. I have the comment section turned off. But I told him when he was texting me about this, I told him, I said, if Heupel breaks, Josh Heupel is no longer the head coach of this football team. Nico is. So good luck having any level of hierarchy or authority. And I'm glad for Josh Heupel that he did it. Because this also sets the stage for college football as a whole. What happened in Knoxville, I think, is going to impact the market, so to speak. I believe that the more and more players who are already making millions of dollars on top of their scholarship, on top of their preferential treatment that they receive from, well, everybody who knows that they're a big dog at the school. And a lot of these guys have been receiving preferential treatment since middle school because everyone knew they were a really good athlete and had a high ceiling. These guys, how can I say this in a nice way? Some of them are not guilty. Some of them are really good guys who they have the whole name, image, likeness in their favor. They'll make a lot of money, and I am fine with that. I want to make that very clear. I'm fine with that. But for a guy who just got the trash beat out of him by Ohio State in the first round of the playoff, I would say take your $3 million and continue to win, and your name, image, likeness, people wanting you to be their spokesperson, your jersey sales, the whole annoyance that was made. In fact, canceled the NCAA college football game for many years because these guys, they had their image on there, but they couldn't make any money. And hey, that's fine. That's fine. I get it. I'm going to go into that in just a second. This is going to be pro player in just a second, but I'm going to balance this thing out because I think it needs to be fair on both sides. Okay. But literally a video game had to be canceled because of this. Up until recently, if you go out and you play really, really well, people are going to want to buy your jersey. They're going to want to have autographs from you. They're going to want you to be their spokesperson. Your NIL value will go through the roof. That's all you have to do. And I want to make it very clear. I'm not an enemy of Nico. I don't know who's in his camp talking to him. I don't know. And I know there's two sides to every story. And I know someone out there is probably going to say something along the lines of, you don't need to be speaking about stuff you don't know. Do you know how many times, or you don't know about all the details? Do you know how many times, I'm talking about not only football, but outside of football. Do you know how many times that's been said to me and I ended up being right? The picture that was painted, I couldn't see the other half, but I could see enough to where I could tell maybe not everything's perfect on one side, but I can definitely tell this is not looking good. Someone is in that young man's ear and making him think that $3 million is not enough. That he should walk away from Tennessee, who was highly invested in him, who thought the world of him. And so, this guy's 19 years old, 20 years old, something like that. I haven't looked up his age, but he's young. And he has been extended an incredible opportunity. And he's been a hero up to this moment. Yeah, he got spanked by Ohio State, but y'all, Ohio State was a different animal this year. And Tennessee is on their way up. And I don't know who's around him. I don't know if it's an agent. I don't know if it's family members. I don't know if it's an Instagram girlfriend. I don't know what it is. Or who it is, excuse me. But for every one of you out there who's working a job this week, you're driving a forklift, you're waiting tables, maybe you're working an office job. And if you're lucky, you may crack 100K. Now, some of you have done very well for yourself, and God bless you. I'm not jealous of people who makes a lot of money. A lot of people act like they want things fair. No, they're just jealous. I don't have a problem with this guy making a lot of money. I have no problem with anyone making a lot of money as long as they appreciate it. Really. If you don't appreciate it, maybe you do need to go play for some MAC school. And I'm going to give you a prediction today. If this young man has people around him, and this is just me throwing this out there, if he has people around him filling his head full of not the right idea, not good ideas, $3 million's not enough. Well, just a few years ago, by the way, this is complete your thought, Brian. This will not be the last time. This will not be the last time that he transfers. He will transfer again. He will transfer again. And his career will be milked in college. And if he has any hopes of going to the NFL and truly being an NFL football player, it will be wasted in this moment. It really, really will. And we're going to see that more and more. But it's going to take time to prove this is true. And unfortunately, it's going to cost a lot of players their career. That's what I believe. So let's talk about how we got here. Now, I was on the phone this week with someone whose son, all of his sons were recruited to play baseball. Within, if I understand correctly, if he's watching, Bill, please correct me if I'm wrong, but the gist I got was within the past 20 years. Okay? He was telling me his son, as a baseball recruit, could not even accept a free can of Coke from someone because he was a player. He couldn't. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Players who they go to there was some player, I can't remember who it is, but was always brought up to me like, this was ridiculous, like I was disagreeing with him. But it was a player on Ohio State's team. This was right before NIL kicked off. I mean, right before it. But this was one of Ohio State's big defensive linemen. It was the one that one of Clemson's offensive linemen shut him down. He was like a top 5 pick. His family couldn't afford to go to the big bowl game, but they were not allowed to receive money so they could all fly to see their son and family member play. That is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But we went from that extreme ridiculousness over to a guy's making $3 million. If I read that correctly, $3 million, and it's not enough. That's where we went. That's where we're at. And so there are players out there, they appreciate their scholarship. They appreciate the special treatment that they receive. There's players out there, they appreciate the NIL dollars that they can now receive. And then there are players, and I believe this wholeheartedly, they have the wrong people around them. They have the wrong people around them. And they're going to lose their career because people around them are telling them the wrong thing. You just hold out. You strong arm them. You'll get more money. You'll get more money. Who cares about your teammates? If they're with you, they're with you. You strong arm them. You strong arm the man. Well, just a few years ago, I couldn't accept a can of Coke. And now I make $3 million and I'm supposed to strong arm. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is him. I don't know, but it just has the feeling of someone who is around him or people around him filling his head full of bad advice. The Bible talks about be very careful about who you be careful with who you trust with your personal advice. Be careful. Be careful who you take counsel from. And this just does not look like it. On the other hand, maybe he has some good family that's sitting around going, dude, what are you doing? I've worked my entire life, haven't made $3 million. You made it like that. Let's say you made $1 million like that. Did you make $1 million this past year? Probably not. Did you make $1 million in the past 10 years put together? Probably not. And we have our keyboard warriors getting online, and I don't know whether it's out of just some situation that maybe you're personally in, that you hate rich people. A lot of rich people has done bad things, but last time I checked, there's a ton of poor people and a ton of in-between people. And they do bad things all the time, but we're totally fine with it. Well, at least they're not rich. I know he shot that guy in the head, but at least he wasn't rich. He's poor. There's probably a good reason he went and blew that guy's brains out. We do that crap. And it's most of the time deep-seated in jealousy for people's accolades, because I've seen poor people become wealthy, and they were some of the most terrible people I've ever seen in my life. I've also seen some poor people become wealthy, and they were nice. I've met some very nice, very wealthy people who were very kind, very helping, very giving, very loving. They knew that they had they had what they had. But some of you, when you leave these messages, I can smell it. It's like a fart. You can smell it and go, this person is, they're just not taking up for this guy or any of these other guys. They're actually on some type of rampage. And it's just so obvious. I'm not a rich guy at all. I'm blessed. God's been good to me. He's taking care of me. But this money that's being thrown around now, I'm nowhere near it. Neither are most of you. So let's just step back and look at this. If you were in Nico's circle, you'd be looking at him going, bro, take the $3 million, increase your NIL value, go out and beat Ohio State the next time you play them. And bro, even if things stay the same or they cut your pay in half, you're still making, $1 million plus. Next up, how this affects college football. With Josh Heupel taking a stand against this move, this allows the market, which is now turned into the transfer portal. This now allows other coaches to follow suit. He didn't break. He looked at a guy that got him to the college football playoff and say, you're not going to do this to your team. You're not going to manipulate me or strong arm me. And I think this is good for college football. You have more and more coaches who look at him and say, hey, man, you can be paid. I think it was ridiculous. You couldn't accept a can of Coke. Your family who was struggling back home, they couldn't accept money. And you knew that they were struggling. And I couldn't give you money if I wanted to, or else we'd all be in trouble. That was wrong. That was wrong. Now it seems like it's not enough. And I think we should all step back and look at that. I'm glad Josh Heupel did what he did today. I'm not doing this. And I hope more college football coaches follow suit. And these guys can be paid and they can be taken care of, and they're making more money again than most of everyone who's watching this video or who could ever imagine watching this video. That's fine. But you have to have a hierarchy on a football team. And this has to be gotten under control. We're going to have to start having contracts just like the NFL. We're going to have to start having contracts. You don't show up to practice, you ain't getting your money, bro. You're And I'm not saying that towards Nico. I'm saying that's towards everyone. Transfer portal opens up in 4 days. That's next Wednesday. In the future, past Wednesday or whatever. But the point is, I think what just happened in Tennessee just helped college football. I know they're licking their wounds. I know they're annoyed. They probably knew this was coming. But I think Josh Heupel's move, we may owe him a big thank you in college football, as long as most college football coaches, especially the big ones, they don't give in. They don't give in. So there we go. Hey, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about that. Hit the thumbs up. Get to the comment section. I'm going to blast through this sucker. I'm going to blast through this really, really fast. Chad Rich, good to see you, man. God Guns and Ammo, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Ardor, go Vols. Will Eubanks, go Vols. Shane Bentley, college football is a far cry from what it once was. Yeah, it is. There's been some good changes. College football playoff. Remember, they told us they couldn't expand it. You remember that? You remember that? I do. It's so funny how we can't do that ends up happening. It's just contracts and agreements, and then some old timers who want to make their money. They still want their power, and if things change, they don't get it. At the same time, you got to be careful overcorrecting that. Thanks for supporting the channel. I see the symbol beside your name. I really do appreciate it. Dustin Ellis, I am a leaver. Yeah, he is leaving. Fire Nico, 2.5 for 3 years. I got you. I bet Merklinger is taking over. I read something like that. Fallout Zone, as a Vol fan, I have to say good riddance. No one player is bigger than Tennessee, and how his family lied online tells you a lot about them. There's a lot of things online that's coming out. And you have to be careful what you believe, but this just seems like he has some bad counsel around him. I could be wrong. I'm calling the government and renegotiating for free beer for the rest of your life. Good luck, my friend. This news could have saved him as if he were negotiating a diversion of money to his teammates. Yeah, that'd been nice. Will be funny if he gets less in the open market. We will see. The Vols still have 2 excellent quarterbacks, and then y'all have that guy that's, he's committed to this upcoming season. Am I correct? Faison Brandon or something like that. I probably butchered his name. Gaston Moore is still available. Kenny Porterfield. Apparently, it's his dad and some family while the negotiations were so JV. I got you. And I feared for that. I fear that. No one says he won't rich. Jesus warned us about the rich. Flotilla. Jesus said that Jesus was giving us some really good examples about favoritism, and we have to be careful about showing favoritism. And also in the Bible, we hear about money is the root of all evil. And if you go back and look at it, it says the love of money. So money is not bad. It's when you love it to the point it starts to make you make bad decisions. And, it's really, really sad. Hello, as a Buckeye, his team played against. I think it's ridiculous that Nico wasn't happy that he was getting from the last time. He hasn't lived up to the expectations at Tennessee. Yeah, he got spanked, unfortunately. Hey, y'all, go Red Raiders. John Dright's good to see, my friend. For him to be begging, the only thing he's shown is getting blown out and embarrassing. Yeah, it's about being humble and know where you came from. That's true. I think Nico is good, but trouble in the locker room. The vast majority of college football recruits will never have Nico's problems, ever. That's actually true. But a lot of these guys are still not making a ton of money. Also, I mean, what Dabo is trying to do at Clemson, where everybody's, making a solid amount of money, and then if you have name, image, likeness, from what I'm understanding, I haven't done a deep dive on it, but if you get NIL on top of that, great. But everybody's taken care of right now more than ever. For anyone who truly cares about everyone being taken care of, there's now more of an income gap between certain players sitting on one side of the locker room versus the other. It could be one seat over from you. One guy's making $1 million, the guy beside you, peanuts. So for anyone who is on this trail of, like they're fighting for something, they're fighting, to make sure players are taken care of. Well, good, but at the same time, they didn't think out the part where one guy can be a millionaire and the guy sitting beside him, his family's still suffering. So, and I know there's like a few random stories of where some guys have shared their NIL money with their team, but that's far and few between. Even if it was 100 people, think about how many thousands of players play college football. Percentages, my friend. It can wreck it can wreck a lot of arguments. Good for the Vols not getting stiffed. Now the rest of college football coaches need to support Josh by not offering Nico anything close to that number. Somebody will, okay? Someone will. But Nico has to ask himself, and his family has to ask himself, and his agent has to ask himself, who's going to be around Nico? Who's going to be playing with Nico? What type of program is he going into? What type of development is he going to get? That's a great question. He was selfish, supposed to be about the team, which was so great about Will Howard, even though he may just be an average QB. Folks, leave your comments below. If you like what I'm doing, hope you'll subscribe. Hey, pass it along to your friends. I'm trying to get 10,000 subscribers. I'm almost at 7,500. I'm right there at 7,500. So if you haven't subscribed, remember it's free. Pass it along. If you want to support on a monthly basis, there is a join button below the video, $3 or $5 a month. I made it extremely affordable. Most people tell me, man, I don't even notice it coming out of my bank account. So if you want to do that, help out an independent, that would be great. But at least subscribe, hit the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. Y'all take care of yourself. And as always, go Tigers.